In this video, we will talk about how to find the surface area of a rectangular prism. So let's check out an example. Let's say we have this rectangular prism here, and we want to find the surface area of it. So remember, the surface area is just the area for each of the surfaces on the outside of the figure. So in a rectangular prism, there are 6 total faces. So to calculate the surface area, we need to know the length of the figure. So let's say this 10 meters right here, this is the length. We also need to know the width. So we'll call this 5 meters right here, the width. And we need to know the height of the figure. So this 3 meters right here, this is our height. So to calculate the surface area, I'll abbreviate it as SA. We first need to find what is the surface area of this front rectangle right here. Well, what you'll notice is that this front rectangle is identical to this back rectangle. And the way that we can calculate the area of these is by taking the length times the height. And since we have 2 of these rectangles, it will be 2 times the length times the height. So we'll say 2 times L times H. And to that we have to add, next we'll find the area of this bottom rectangle right here, which will be identical to this top rectangle right here. So how do we find the surface area of these 2 rectangles? Well, we just need the length times the width. And there are 2 of them. So we'll say 2 times the length times the width. And then lastly, we have to find the area of these right and left rectangles, which will also be identical to each other. So how do we find the area of those rectangles? Just the width times the height. And there's 2 of them, so we'll say 2 times the width times the height. So this is the formula we will use to find the surface area of not just this rectangular prism, but you can use it to find the surface area of any rectangular prism. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's say the surface area is going to be equal to 2 times the length times the height. So we'll say 10 times 3. So 10 times 3 plus, next we have 2 times the length times the width. So the length is 10 and the width is 5. So we'll say 10 times 5. And lastly we have plus 2 times the width times height. So 2 times the width is 5 and the height is 3. So we'll say 5 times 3. So let's see what we get. 2 times 10 is 20, times 3 is 60, plus 2 times 10 is 20, times 5 is 100, plus 2 times 5 is 10, times 3 is 30. So when we add these all together, we get 60 plus 100 plus 30, that's 190. And remember, our units is meters, so we'll say meters squared since we're talking about surface area. Whenever we're talking about area, we have to say squared. So this is the surface area of this rectangular prism. And you can use this exact same process to find the surface area of any rectangular prism.